Well, joining me now is royalist and royal commentator Ben Lord. Ben, thank you for joining us on BBC News. I wonder if I can first get your reaction to that picture that has been printed in The Sun today and the video that is on their website.
I think it's a real positive sign that the princess is recovering from her surgery that she was in hospital for 2 months ago. It was said at the time that the announcement was made of her admission to hospital that her recovery would be quite lengthy and that we wouldn't see her back on royal duties until Easter, which is still a couple of weeks away. So the fact that we are seeing her in a leisurely ambience, clearly happy, clearly moving without issue, shows that her recovery is going well. And therefore, no doubt we will see her return to her official formal duties in the coming weeks as that announcement advised.
It is unusual for The Sun to print a picture and a video like this that was in private rather than a public event.
It is, and I think that that is indicative of a great deal of speculation that has been around social media over the weekend and in the days prior to the weekend, particularly since the Mother's Day picture and the aftermath of that as well. I think there is a lot of interest amongst the public as to how the Princess of Wales is doing in terms of her recovery, but I think there is also a fine balance as to how much the public's inquisitiveness is taken. Ultimately, she is recovering from a significant health situation, and therefore privacy should be observed where it's appropriate to do so. And if it is that she's been seen in a public place, then equally there's not a great deal of harm to show that she's doing well.
Have you been surprised by the amount of social media speculation that has been going on and, put it brutally, conspiracy theories that have been doing the rounds?
I think it's fair to say that over the last 20 or 30 years, media speculation of any type surrounding high profile members of the royal family is not foreign to any of us in the UK and across the world. And social media, as that has evolved over the last few years, has become the primary vehicle for speculation and indeed conspiracies to accelerate and get out there at quite a rate. Um, do I think there's anything to be read into it? Absolutely not. I think that they are very much conspiracies. I think that the public will do what the public does with in terms of its own imagination as to what they want to see or what they want to think. But I think ultimately the benchmark is what is fact and what is evidence. And what is fact is that the princess is recovering from the surgery that she had. We will see her back on duty in the coming weeks in her high-profile royal capacity. And, I would, like any other member of the public, try to focus on that rather than be drawn too much into speculation that simply has no legs or evidence to it.
Do you think that Kensington Palace will be worried about the speculation and also the fact that the Mother's Day photo, which was lovely on the day, but did seem to backfire when we then learnt that it had been manipulated after, and how they are dealing with the fallout going forward?
I think that the royal household across all the palaces are very familiar with ongoing intense interest in the royals, and particularly the high-profile royals. And certainly, the Princess of Wales, as the Prince of Wales is the heir to the throne, and the Princess of Wales will become our Queen one day. That's unsurprising. That said, I think we have to be quite careful what language we use in terms of referring to the Mother's Day photograph. I don't believe, as was announced by the Princess of Wales at the beginning of last week, that the photograph that was issued was done with any manipulation intent. She has done no different to what any other hobby photographer does in using the benefit of her camera equipment together with the software that's out there to be able to enhance and make the photographs the best that you think they can be. I don't think that was done with any underhanded or malicious intent to manipulate the public's perception. It's no different to what the Kensington Palace have released on other family occasions relating to the Waleses, whether it's birthdays, anniversaries, Christmas. We've seen those kind of photographs happen before. And I think the big question for me is, why would we want to necessarily forensically analyze these photographs to determine whether they are enhanced or edited? You know, what is the reason for that? Ultimately, this was a Mother's Day photograph of a loving mother with her three children, whom clearly adore her. And I think that's the spirit in which it was put out there, and in which all of us should be recognizing that in.
Yeah, and do you think going forward that is what the palace will be thinking when they release any pictures of the royals going forward? Are they going to say, yes, this was enhanced like you would do with any photo? We've had the news today that an old picture of the Queen, the late Queen that was released, has also been enhanced before it was actually published. And it's only now when we're going back and looking back over those old images that we're seeing that.
Again, I would question, what is meant by enhanced. That doesn't necessarily mean that that photograph, in the fact that it was the late Queen with her great grandchildren, wasn't something that actually happened in real time. It could simply be that it happened, but enhancing it was polishing the colors up or doing some other kind of editing technique that makes it look better than what it would just in a raw taken method. So I think we need to be quite, again, careful as to what the context is when we refer to something being digitally enhanced, because every media outlet across the world will have photography departments that enhances the photographs that they take. What I think is quite sad is that we seem to be now going down an avenue where we're looking back at something and trying to perhaps make claims of something that isn't necessarily quite true, and certainly not in the spirit that the royal household is intending on promoting out there. And if there have been any lessons identified by the royal communications team, I'm sure that any future photographs that do come out will be seen to reflect on any of those learnings, and continuing to uphold the spirit in which they are released publicly.
And if we look, Prince William out and about again today on his royal duties, how difficult is it for him to carry on that while still trying to protect his wife?
I think it's incredibly different. At the end of the day, what we have to remember is these people might be high profile. They may be the future king and queen, or the incumbent monarchs in the case of the king and Queen Camilla. But nevertheless, they are people. They still have feelings, and Prince William particularly has grown up around this kind of intense public and media scrutiny around his nearest and dearest, and will of course want to ensure that his wife doesn't endure what the last Princess of Wales endured, which of course was his late mother. So I think all credit to him for his stoicism, for being able to maintain a composure that is consistent with him, where he goes out on public royal duties, doing what he's there to do in whatever his diary requires of him, while still ensuring that he doesn't get drawn into this constant circus of speculation that seems to just day on day emit, where with not a great deal of need for that to be happening.
Royal commentator Ben Lord, thank you very much for joining us on BBC News.
Thank you.